close, I mean.
Yeah, it should,
Devices and
It's doing
activities.
something.
usually just when you touch the owl at one.
Is there anybody zooming in, Mike?
I can't see anybody.
Okay, then you technically don't need the monitor.
Yeah, maybe.
As long as
I
you
wanna-
got it on that,
This is weird, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So what do we do now? How do I get this off?
the
Just
X in
give
the
it a
corner.
second, it should be. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
It's recording already.
seeing as it's, what time is it?
7.
7, right on time. 7:01, we will start this. I'll call the meeting to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? No? Okay, let's go with the approval of the November 26th meeting. When I was putting this together, I had to read the minutes because I couldn't remember what we did the last.
It's been a while.
I'll find them in.
Okay. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I will make the motion to approve the minutes of the November 26th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass. We have a visitor. Hi, you didn't sign in, so I. Oh, you, I'm sorry.
I did sign it.
Oh, okay. Are you here for any comments? Oh, okay, fine. Then we will go on to the November and December ZA activity report.
All right, so I only printed out 2 copies, but I have some here if anyone wants to take a look. All the information I also emailed to you. I had 2 building permits that I issued in November, most notably the North Hero Town water tank. No building permits issued in December. December and the rest of November was basically just filled with certificates of occupancy and certificates of compliance. The one glaringly obvious thing that I left out of the December MMA was that I did receive an appeal of zoning decision, which was a DRB application, which was heard at the January meeting. So that will be in my January MMA.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments?
Not specifically to this, but just to the planning administrator herself.
Oh, go ahead.
A couple things, I think, and I don't know if this is exactly the place to say it in the meeting, but through that appeal of the zoning administrator, and Andy, you were there. I don't know if there's a way to set up procedures or protocols in the future. I think it would have been a good place. I think the planning commission should have been there to learn some of the inadequacies that we still have in the system.
Yeah,
I'm not pointing fingers at the ZA. I just noticed there's some loopholes. Like, for example, I think the holidays really screwed things up because you're only here on Wednesdays and Fridays, and we had 2 weeks, but there's timelines that people have to meet, quote, legally, as far as our procedures go. That was one place I saw. There's no place for anyone to see what either our approval or a denial of any zoning decisions. That, since we have a new website, there must be a place we'd be able to put that in there somehow
I just figured that out the other day, so
in the future.
there.
So that'll be in there, but it never used to be. Like, Hugo came and got hay the other day, and he never notified any neighbors if something got approved or denied, so there was no place for, he never did. It was not part of the process.
Yeah, that's true.
And none of the neighbors knew that there was an appeal on the zoning decision.
You mean the abutters?
Yes,
Really?
no. They were informed 2 days prior to that hearing.
Really?
Yes.
Because I send those out 15 days prior.
Yeah,
through
but they
the mail.
didn't, it was on, so I
What?
think, so at any rate, it needs, I need that. We just gotta try to eliminate some of the loopholes and try to
Absolutely.
make it easier for everyone.
So no abutters received mailings
Of the zoning,
of
zoning of the
Okay.
appeal of the zoning,
of the hearing that was
no.
regarding.
So
that.
you made your determination
Yeah.
on that. And your decision was appealed by a abutting landowner.
Yep,
That abutting landowner got a notice, but not the actual landowner saying that, hey, I approved this, but it got appealed.
so,
And that was brought up during that meeting.
It was, yeah. And I don't know that there's really a clear procedure spelled out for that. I don't. know.
There isn't, that's why I'm
Yeah,
bringing
okay,
it up
yeah,
now,
you're right.
because technically the ZA, even though we have to interview a new ZA, right? That's the planning commission's job, and we
Yeah.
make that recommendation to the select board. We used to sign off on the hours that they spent
Mhm.
doing the ZA prior to Northwest kind of coming in and taking control of everything. So the ZA is kind of under our umbrella, so that's why I think in the future, if we have it as a procedure or protocol that for one, if the ZA is appealed, I think the planning commission should be invited to that meeting, just
Yeah.
to view it.
Okay.
Cause I think you being there as the assistant
That's why
ZA,
I was.
but
there.
also as a planning
Yeah,
commission, I think you learned a lot of things
I
that
did.
we didn't,
It-
nothing to do with the case whatsoever,
Right.
just loopholes in our
Exactly, yeah.
system.
No, there was no doubt in my mind that we have to come up with a better way of doing things. I think this is the first time that you've actually dealt with a written complaint or,
oh, yeah. for sure.
yes.
And
It's
then,
all new to all of
and
us, yeah.
as we've all looked at our permitting pricing and that type of thing, nowheres have I seen in the years that I've been on here saying that there's $150 fee to appeal zoning administrator's decision. There's nothing anywheres. And there is. That was news to me, so aside from this case, to me, it makes it that it's almost like a deferral. If someone doesn't want to spend $150, they might not appeal a zoning decision, even though they may not agree with it. Where did that come from? We haven't seen it in any of our paperwork.
No,
Anyway,
it's, well, it costs $300 to present to the.
yes, it does, but there's nowhere in
Yeah,
our
I agree,
paperwork
yeah.
that says that it's 150. That's almost misleading.
Well,
It should be,
That-
if we're
that
gonna
needs-
charge it, it needs to be put somewhere.
I agree with that too.
Oh, we did just get that new sheet with all the updated,
But that's not
pricing.
on there.
but I don't know, that's what I'm saying, but I didn't take
'Cause we
that
saw that.
payment, so.
Yeah, we saw it and I don't
You
think
did?
it's on there.
No, it's not.
Cause I didn't.
But where
process
did that come from?
I don't.
We
know.
made,
I'll have
we
to
made
ask-
the recommendation for the fees originally. We made adjustments this last time, but where did that come from?
Since it was not a full, I'm just guessing, not a full DRB hearing, that maybe you take a half of it. That's my guess.
I'd like to find the answer where
Yeah.
that number came from.
I'll ask Corinne,
Does
she was the one who
does
processed the
DRB have
payment,
fees?
so.
The deer. What do you mean?
Do they have fees? Do they do like we do, where we have fees for each permit and all that? Do they have
Yeah.
a fee schedule?
Yeah, but this is.
Yeah, but
not
it's all
included on it.
corresponding.
It's obvious we need to include a line.
And you're
item.
talking about
Yeah.
appeals.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's easy enough to add on and then we'd have to.
but is that how we want to do it? We make the recommendation to the select board and we made decisions about all the other fees, right? And we presented that to the select board. We
Yeah,
thought it warranted a change.
well, in my opinion, it absolutely warrants a fee because it costs the town money. The clerk, you probably spent a lot of time on it. So it definitely warrants a fee. The question is, what's a reasonable fee?
Mhm.
So what happens
where
if
did that fee
what
come from?
happens if the appellant is the winner? Again, it costs you to prove you're right or wrong.
Well, isn't that the way it is right now? Somebody can go to the DRB and get denied, that they don't get their money back, right?
Oh, no, I paid 3 times and
Well,
been denied every 3 times. And yet I've been in a DRB meeting and seen that that's been waived. Yes, sir.
Anyway, you're right, there's several things that need to be addressed as a result of this appeal.
Is it because, okay, are we talking about the fee or are we talking, we need to update our bylaws for an appeal?
I think
And this is
both,
Both,
yeah.
Okay.
because right now I think it's almost. You can't charge something if it's not written down anywhere.
Yeah.
That's misleading, you know, it's like not reading the fine print at the bottom, you know, if there's a fee for something, it should be on public publications.
Needs to be addressed,
You want to take a shot at it?
sure,
Bring it to the next meeting?
yeah, the fee, yeah. I mean, I
What
think
about-
$150 is reasonable, that's what.
How
I
about
would present.
updating the bylaws?
Yeah, that should be part of what we're doing. So yes, let me take a look at that.
Even if that's reasonable, Andy, like Andre said, and I think he's right, if there is no place saying that there's no, that there's no fee, what I'm saying, if there's no place stating there's a fee,
Yep,
how can they legally charge them?
Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's.
Yeah.
Because if it ain't in black and white, they can't, shouldn't be able to charge them.
$150, I mean, you might.
No,
I mean, it's not the money, it's-
Never
yeah,
Well,
I,
stated.
That's my question, because
Yeah.
the person who processed the fee found that somewhere, so I have to
Yeah,
talk to.
that's
them
what
about
I
where
was
it came
thinking,
from.
that it's gotta be somewhere
he
that,
didn't-
Yeah, it was a total surprise.
but I haven't seen it, yeah,
Yeah,
But I guess
so
we-
we'll have to out.
we should know, we should know.
yeah, we should.
Yeah.
You think we,
Yeah.
We would know, I mean,
Well,
you would think it'd be in our, with our fee.
everything,
No, it's scheduled.
Building
like I
permit
said,
fees
this
and all
was
that
a
stuff.
new first time situation, so
Yeah, yeah.
kind of going through the learning curve, but.
But the other part, you mentioned that there is a cost to the DRB, but I'd really like to know what the budget is for how much they bring in and how much is actually spent from there.
We've looked at it several times. It was just looked at recently. Right now, the cost of if you add the ZA and the DRB, those costs are greater than what we're bringing in for fees.
Gotta.
Oh,
How do I admit?
click the blue button.
Where is he?
If you go
Oh,
down to
wonder
the
why my
bottom
phone
and
was
you click
going off.
participants, you can, you might not be on the screen, but you might be.
I don't see
So
participants.
just click on the screen anywhere and it'll pop up. Yeah, and then at the bottom. let's see.
I don't see anything.
I see chat, I see.
Go more.
Yeah,
Far-
more on the
far
right.
There he is.
Yes,
Good decision to stay home.
yes, yes. I thought you'd all appreciate it.
We can tell just from your voice.
Thanks.
Okay,
So, yeah, I will be ready to present something at our next meeting to clarify the appeal process and discuss the fees. And if you're interested in looking at our cost versus revenue, we looked at that just recently, and we definitely
The
spend.
planning commission.
Huh?
The planning commission had.
No, but I would leave the planning commission out of the equation because we're not enforcing.
But
the
don't we
bylaws.
make the recommendations for the fees?
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
So we should know what's revenue and what's expensed.
We looked at, I think that I even brought that to a meeting.
yes,
Yeah, when we
Because of
updated the fees a few months ago.
That
We
was-
had that information in front of us.
Must not, it must.
That
have been
was something
harvested.
that-
Yeah, you missed a couple meetings there.
I
so,
did,
Yeah,
yeah,
we did have
harvesting,
that to
yeah.
look at.
okay, is
So if I
there,
go back and it should be an attached emails, of course, I didn't get those emails back.
is it because you're on a global net?
If you email me, I can forward them all to you because I'm on them.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
are we done at this point? We have no correspondence for action. Let's see. First thing, the first thing on unfinished business is one of the requests from the DRB that we expand the PUD in the shoreland district.
And right now it's rural and where else? Is it,
I don't know if it's even in,
Yeah,
It's rural. I
it's
think it's
rural
all-
and town.
in village,
Village, yeah, rural and village.
rural and
Yeah.
village.
So what's it, if. What do you gain by putting the PUD into the shoreline?
I don't. The gain is if you have mixed property, rural and shoreland, it permits a PUD to go through. I don't know that a PUD would actually even be proposed by a developer in the shoreland. You probably know the size of the lots much better than I do.
Well, shoreline's 2 acres, rural land's 3.
Yeah.
That brings up to another thing that happened during that DRB in regards to the size of the lots. Did you? Skip Porter had brought up that there's a state statute in regards to if there's a non-conforming lots. The town can't restrict what they can, you were there, you
Yeah, no,
remember.
I heard what Chip said.
And
Yeah.
I was thinking, what the hell do we have bylaws for
Yeah,
then? Because
yeah.
most of our lots in the town along the outer edge is all non-conforming.
Yeah,
Yeah, true. And what was his point on it?
There was state statute that stated that the town cannot restrict development on unconforming lots. Is that about the gist of
that's
it?
kind of what he said, yeah, and he, he's got 50 years of experience with all this stuff.
Did he say-
Well,
I-
this is the recent state statute
Yeah.
according to him.
Yeah,
But if,
Really?
but if the lot don't meet our bylaws in 2 acres and there's nothing on it. Do we really have to issue them a permit because it's not conforming
Sounds like the state.
for a
according
building
to-
permit, you know what I
So
mean?
this, and I didn't have time to go look to see what state statute was talking about, but I was like, coming out of there and I was like, what the heck? We don't need, most of our bylaws wouldn't be.
We come up against that anyways in
Yes, we
these
do.
even developed lots
Mhm.
that are
Or under the.
are before the zoning laws.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but so, yeah, all I know is when we went through our major overhaul, in working with the Regional Planning Commission, at that point, our bylaws were synchronized with the state, but if they've made a change since then, I don't know.
Probably gonna be a lot more changes coming.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they want, what is it? Another 30,000 houses in
Yes.
here by 2030?
Yeah,
Ain't gonna happen.
Not with the way it is now.
Well, not only that, you just don't have that many workers to be able to develop. Well, if you look at South Burlington on Market Street, they certainly have developed an awful lot of apartment
yes,
units,
they have.
Mhm.
and some business units that are in there. But that's a compact area, waters where,
Water and
Well, I don't know, you
Water
go
and
St.
sewer.
Albans, Fairfax, Georgia, Milton, there's a lot of new houses up there, and I
Yeah.
think if there was some restrictions pulled back, it would go a lot faster, I'm telling you.
There are restrictions being pulled back, relaxing of Act 250
And
depending.
there's talk about it, they haven't.
No, it's not, it's enacted. As of this last legislative session. There are some relaxations of Act 250, depending on the number of units and the size of the lot.
Yeah.
but
they're
that's
push-
only
they're
in
pushing
village centers or growth
Yeah,
centers
exactly,
or.
right, yeah, doesn't,
They're pushing
doesn't impact that I can see. anything
Duplexes,
here.
triplexes, they're
Yeah,
pushing them.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, back to you, what Mike, you were just saying, right now the PUDs are in village and rural. I'm on, page 10 here, and I'm just looking at the example when that development was going, forward in the, North Hero House.
Yes,
That was village, but wasn't that also considered shoreline too?
Mhm.
So I'm surprised that,
Well, no. Village is separate from the shore, it's a separate district from the shoreland district.
so they can't overlap
Right.
because it meets the criteria of the shoreline in some ways. I don't.
No, it's,
All right, so.
that's a
it's
separate district from
Okay,
the shoreland.
all right.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the establishment of zoning districts, but not necessarily, where's the PUD regulation?
that is deeper in. 60 something.
I didn't have
No,
time to pull
it's
it up.
section 6,
Section
I think. But my understanding, the reason that request came is they did have a application. Which ended up getting denied where somebody wanted to develop a PUD that straddled the two
6-4.
districts.
Yeah. 29.
Because PUDs are not allowed in the shoreland district, the application was denied. I don't know any of the details, but that's the
Yeah.
background.
So I forget, where was our interest here in expanding this?
This was a request from the DRB, and so we're evaluating it.
That they wanted to expand to the
Yes.
shoreline?
Well, they asked us to look at it. I don't know that they.
Yeah, I don't,
That's what's
so-
happening with some of the inland. It's still there's some inland
yeah,
areas that fall in that shorelands district just from,
Yeah.
footage.
yeah.
So I could see that could cause some issues. Even if you're only, there's a fair amount that you're only 4 or 5 feet in there, but because you're in both districts, that throws you into,
And I think that's where when you cross over, that's the problem.
And still trying to find where we say it's only in the rural district.
Oh, you gotta go to that chart where,
Go back to 5.2 again?
I guess, yeah.
6.4B says, 1A says be located in rural land.
right, right here in B.
I think proving it shows that we are looking to add housing. Or opportunities for housing. In the shoreland. Whether you're going to get a developer to actually come in.
Mhm.
I mean, just because you can doesn't mean, which is what I've been saying about housing growth
Yeah,
in this town. Just
Yeah.
because you can doesn't mean you're going to.
Right.
Later, I'll talk about that. Of our, doing the Act 181,
Yeah,
review and also going to the website. I thought it was interesting information.
Yeah.
But I'll put it to the developers afterwards
yeah.
as to, anyways, let's get back to PUD in the shoreland district. What would be what would be a reason not to approve it?
Because shorelands is gonna, the state shorelands is gonna restrict some. Of what can be done and can't be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only that is if you put them in there, you can have more housing on the lake. Because they're gonna allow, with a PUD, you're gonna allow more families on acreage, per acres too.
Mhm. But under the PUD, doesn't it have to be affordable housing, space preservation?
that's gonna be
Open
like
space.
3 of those.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I guess the other.
I'm just thinking of it politically.
Yeah,
that's-
no, I agree. Well, politically, I mean, I think based on all the hearings, everything we've been through, people want to protect the shoreland.
Yeah.
And on that basis, I would say
You're gonna.
allowing
you're not
PUDs
protecting.
would not go toward that goal.
I.
And the other consideration, there's some density bonuses for
Mhm.
PUDs, which are based on 3-acre lots.
Yeah,
Now we got 2-acre lots. How
Yeah.
does it change those calculations?
I'd like to see an example of why they want the PUD, what is it they're trying to gain out of it?
Well, I think as a
Again, I
prime
don't
example,
believe-
if you've got a rural district like this and you got shorelands comes up, so you're right here, and this is all the same lot, you wanna put a house right here, most of it's gonna be in the back, everyone else, the wastewaters come in and said it's fine, the wetlands, everyone said it's fine, but you can't because of that PUD. And if you wanna do it with, in-laws, which the state is pushing to have your,
Well, if you got 2 acres, you can build a house as long as as long as your wastewater and all your setbacks are met. A PUD's for.
but
more than
not if
one well
majority
now.
of your land is in the
Right,
back portion.
but what you're trying, a PUD, is it that, because you're trying to put more than one house in there?
Yeah,
Right,
You
so
know-
you're talking one house, Andre, but if they wanna do a PUD, all they gotta do is put the one house with the lake shore and then use the rest of the land, subdivide it off, leave 2 acres of the house. And leave the rest of the land open to do a PUD and out of the shoreline.
Well,
It depends on how the lots are broken.
Right.
Yeah,
Because I could see how that could happen.
a compromise might be that if you've got a lot that straddles the 2 districts, and if the we could say if the bulk of that lot is in the rural district, then we would allow the PUD to
Yeah.
apply
For the rule.
for the portion that that's in the shoreland, because it's predominantly in the rural. I mean, that's a possible compromise.
So you'd allow the
Yeah.
PUD for the.
For the
shoreline.
rural.
For the
and-
rule, you just said for the shoreline.
Well, yeah, I'm saying if you've got a lot that straddles the two
Yeah, yeah.
districts. And the bulk of the lot is in the rural district, maybe you allow for a PUD.
In that rural
Because there's
part.
a, you know,
Mhm.
maybe there's a small.
In the
portion.
rural
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, but maybe there's a small portion of that lot in the
No,
shorelands
Shoreline,
district.
Yep.
That
And
makes
so
sense.
this way they would still be able to develop it as a PUD.
Mhm.
Didn't, we used to have a rule that said that the rules for, if you have a straddle, the rules still apply for that portion in the shoreline. As well as, so that you would have to, you couldn't put 4 houses into a shoreland lot that happened to, that area that happened to straddle.
And that's what they're probably trying to do.
Yeah.
That's why
No,
they're,
I think it's more like what he's saying.
well,
Where you you got a 4-acre lot and you got half an acre in the shorelands and you
Mhm.
got 3 3/4 in the rural district. But they want to put a duplex there or put
Mhm.
2 houses there. But because of that shoreland, that 3/4 of an acre in the shorelands, you can't. Right?
Bobby?
I think that was the case, yeah.
Did you wanna, did you wanna, comment on this?
You got to unmute
You're
yourself.
mute.
Yes, I unmuted myself. I think that,
Oh, never mind, mute yourself. No, just.
nice guy, real nice guy. I think I'm gonna go get in the car and sit down and come sit next to you. So,
No, I'm sitting next to him and I don't want it.
so, I think it's right. I think it should be if you have more land in the rural lands that it should apply. That you should be able to do if you've got a smaller section in the shorelands than what the rural lands is, you should be able to do it with a PUD.
so then we'd have to do a percentage, right? And make a percentage with it if it's
Yeah,
If,
75%.
75% has to be rural and then
Yeah.
Well,
25%
that would be the fairest option.
lakeshore. Because if
Yeah.
if you start getting the other way, then they're, yeah.
And if you say the percentage, you could also say, that it's restricted, the duplex or whatever has to be built in the rural part of it. Could
And,
say
and
that.
you could also say that all other requirements of the shoreland district apply to this PUD.
Yes,
For that portion of the
for that
lot.
portion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what they're kind of thinking about.
Well, like I said, that
Yeah,
was the case
yeah.
and I don't think they necessarily were recommending that we do it. They just
Yeah.
wanted us to look at it
Okay.
because of that one case that came
Okay.
up, so.
So what are we saying?
Yeah, so I mean,
Well, it was,
I think we ought to know what they really want us, to
yeah,
what they want. us to do.
what they were trying
Yeah,
to,
what do they want?
what was it to, you know?
You could ask,
But I think if we do
Yes.
something, you don't want them putting
Yeah.
duplexes right on
Yeah.
top of the lake. You know,
No.
right,
because then you got that much more sewage
Yeah.
on the lake.
yes,
what? Is it worth, seeing we've got a consensus here that depending on what they're really looking for, that we might be agreeable to
To-
that
to
kind of
that kind of-
compromise?
yeah. we'd have to come up with the
We'll
percentage.
have to come up with the language and all
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I don't know that we need a motion tonight, but
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Okay,
We can move forward and look at it.
Yeah.
and Andy, you're gonna get in touch with Diane?
I'll talk to Diana here.
Speaking of Diana, coming up, noise standards. Why I put it on here is a conversation that took place in the town hall between our zoning administrator, myself, Diane, and Corinne as to noise. And I pitched that it should be a municipal ordinance. And she went back and said, no, because we don't.
Diana?
Excuse me, Corinne said
Oh, Corinne said
no,
no.
because liquor licenses are issued by statute by the town clerk. And that there is no town administrator, even on a part-time basis, to be able to enforce it. So that going forward with any type of noise ordinance would be counterproductive, wouldn't go, the select board would not approve it,
So scratch it.
so trash it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
agree.
that's why I was coming back just to let you know that I did do some more work
So
on it.
if somebody's complaining about noisy neighbors, they call the sheriff, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let the sheriff,
Yeah.
or, and I think this was particularly, they were, Diane was speaking about Shore Acres, and they were trying to do the right thing, and I still don't think they should be issuing permits. And it always comes up about great ice, and the town doesn't want to do anything about that either, so the noise is
Okay.
down. Let's see. Andy, I'm gonna let you speak about this, accessory structures and farm.
Yeah, and again, that's a case that same night that you were there, and are you familiar with this? I don't, do you have any business on your property?
We do.
Okay, so you're kind of familiar that, so we have a section, in our regulations addressing accessory on-farm businesses. The state also has overreaching requirements, that probably are more allowable than what somebody could read, into our regs.
Mhm.
And it has to do with, you know, you can have a business, you can sell products as long as at least 50% of the product comes from the farm. So so there's a couple that, you know, asked for a permit. It did get approved. But I had brought up to the DRB that you ought to at least look at the state requirements. So I guess the question is, do we want to go back? There's a suggested template for on-site on-farm businesses from the state, which is several pages long. We want to consider incorporating that in our regulations. Do we just simply want to put a reference like we've done in other sections that, you know, also refer to the state regulations? There was no, you know, the
Mhm.
people that applied had no idea that there were state regulations that applied, and I don't think at the time the DRB did either. So I just, the question is, do we want to address that in our regulations, either by coming up with some comprehensive regulations or at least a reference to the state regulations?
Gee, I thought we had, I thought we had punted in our regulations that on-site farm buildings were regulated by the Department of Agriculture or State
Yep.
Department of Agriculture, I forget what their initials
Yep.
are,
Mhm.
and that you know, I thought that farmers were allowed to do up to, I think, 2 residential houses for farm workers as
Yeah,
well as.
we're talking about on-farm businesses here specifically, not.
Right, and I think when we had the discussion during this time, when we were doing this, is that as long as 50% came from the 50% was produced on there, that they didn't even need a permit.
Right, that's.
All you had to do was an intent to build permit, which was basically notifying the town that you were doing it, but that's the extent, like, I was sitting there in that meeting also and thought, they don't even need to be applying here, they just need, it's a yellow form from the town, intent to build permit. If someone really needs to ask, all you gotta do is show from the state that,
Well,
you know, like in our case, we've got a retail a license for meat sales.
from the state,
Yes,
Yeah.
we got it, you know, it's $25, they come, they look at the freezers and whatever. And that's the extent.
Yeah.
And that's quite a bit how the state looks at it also. They don't want to hinder any of that.
no, I
No,
agree.
neither do we.
Well, we don't want the town hindering something that the state's not hindering.
Correct.
So, that's.
So I
again,
sat there and that's thinking they don't even need to be here.
Right, well, yeah.
And I think you did too, because you,
So I guess the question is, what, if anything, do we want to do about it? Do we simply, you know, in a lot of cases where the state has regulations, we just put the reference,
Mhm.
or we're proposing to put references in. Do we want to add a reference to the state regulations in that section on, yeah, well, it's under accessory on farm businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what section is that in?
That's section 8? No.
You go right at the, brought mine there. You go right at the beginning of the regs. It talks about. Statutory exemptions, it's mentioned there, I believe.
Is those back to
Yeah,
define section?
1.4 number one,
Yeah.
RAPs.
Actually, it's in.
Why? I would
The
think
state
that,
statute is there. It's
Okay.
right there.
Okay.
why didn't they follow it?
They just wanted to make sure that they were doing everything right.
No, I mean the DRB, why didn't the DRB look and
They
say?
did, they ended up
we-
looking at that. They approved it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, they
I
approved it.
don't, I'd hate to see.
The only, I just.
Did they get
thought-
charged a fee?
I'm sure, yeah, because they went to the DRB.
They shouldn't have had to. They should get refunded that. In actuality, either if they, you know, not putting this up, but the ZA or the. You know, part of when we did all this, and Hugo talked about this when he was on board, is that working with the landowners in the permitting process, you know? I don't know if they even reached out to you prior to going to the DRB.
Well, I approved their application. Yeah, but they didn't have any questions about, like, we didn't have to go through this, they didn't have questions like,
So if you approved it, why did they end up at a DRB meeting?
no, I mean, they applied for the DRB meeting. But they had everything in place, so I approved it.
So
I
after the
didn't know-
DRB, I mean, part of this was constructing a building and you gave them a building permit.
Gave them a
correct?
building
Yeah,
permit, yep, and the question with the DRB was that they were. Not, they were, I think their term was other gardening amenities, so it wasn't just the stuff that was gonna be
yeah. Right,
grown on their property, it was like they were gonna bring in like. And
Mhm.
gardening equipment and things like that, so. But the DRB never questioned them on the amount, like 50%, like.
Oh, they wanna sell garden equipment.
Yeah, they're gonna be selling all that
Well,
stuff. but they're
topsoil,
not-
pots
They're
and
not
pots to
producing.
go.
Right,
but their main product is Christmas trees. They're growing.
It will
Christmas
be.
Well,
trees.
that's
Which
down the road. This was to sell,
So
flowers
that I
and
can
stuff, and they
understand,
want-
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Right
they're
now,
bringing,
it's just
they're
like
basically a
flowers and
store.
stuff and-
Oh,
and
okay.
other items they're.
No,
bringing
no.
in, They're buying.
they're gonna be growing like house plants, regular plants,
but-
and then they're gonna also be providing a bag topsoil
Right.
and,
And rakes and shovels and stuff.
Right.
So they're
What
basically
did you try?
Way out.
opening the store, really, in a sense.
just a retail store,
Way up.
yes.
past,
So I can understand
Oh,
paying for
okay.
that then,
Huh.
because right now that's gonna be over 50% of their profit.
They already have some greenhouses.
Well, it doesn't say anything
Until
about
they get
profit, it
something
just
going,
says.
you know?
Right, it doesn't say nothing about profit.
Or not profit, I mean, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
It's, they're gonna be.
I
over
was
that
just questioning,
12%.
farms that have a
Bring it
profit,
in.
okay,
Some farmers do.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, then maybe we don't need to do
It's
anything
good,
further.
it's
with
good,
it.
yeah, the language is good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Next one was driveway setbacks for inclusion and definition of structures. Did I see in the minutes that we did not approve this at the last meeting?
I was thinking we did, but that's. We should vote on
I
it.
thought-
There's a question.
I thought we put it at 5.2.
Yeah, I mean, we had a printout that showed that as an added line item for driveways. And again, that was really just a clarification.
Was that the 7.7 page?
No, it was in table, I think table
Oh,
5.2.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
just gonna add driveways here with the 25 foot.
Oh, okay, that makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where was,
Because there's a
Since I gotta
paragraph
put it in
later
here,
on that
where
says the
is-
setback has to be 25 feet, but it wasn't, it's just really, again, clarification.
Oh, okay, so putting it in the table just.
Yeah, it just
Reiterate-
clarifies
say it
what, I
again.
think it's section 7.7 where it
Oh,
says that,
okay,
yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
got it.
So. Then I will make a motion that we
Yeah.
add the line item in table 5.2 for driveways with a 25 foot minimum setback.
Second,
okay, any further discussion? All in
Does it
favor?
say
Go ahead.
you didn't, for single family homes? We've already got it in there for multifamily homes, but the issue is a single family home.
That's
Where our issue is. That's where we don't have any. That's where we have no regulation on. We've got it for multifamily homes, or multi-home, one driveway for multi-homes, but we have nothing for a single family dwelling.
we don't have anything for the minimum width of a driveway for a single family. I think the 25-foot setback, if you look, is it section 7.7, Mike, where we talk about driveways? I don't think that distinguishes between single and multi-family.
Oh, you have it in here.
7.7.
You even have the, I just didn't have it, that's why I got the little marker here. Driveways. One lot shall be a minimum
But
width
we
10 feet.
decided a
Yeah, but
minimum
no,
width
we're
of
talking
12
about
feet.
Setback from the
Yeah,
property.
Where is the
not-
setback?
Not 10 feet. Hardly ride a bicycle.
Somewhere in that,
Why, 10 feet's pretty wide.
No.
You can ride a bike up
Yeah, you
there
can ride a bike.
on a driveway.
somewhere in that section, I believe.
This is way back in November, we're trying to remember.
I know.
It might have been no.
I think we talked about it quite a while ago.
So we're saying that.
Well,
for a-
I wanna confirm that, before we,
What do you want to?
So we got,
that
Wait a
our
minute.
current regulations, and I think it's in section 7.7.
right here,
Already say that driveways have to be set back a minimum. of
They do.
25
It
feet.
does, right here in.
Right here.
But
Driveway
it doesn't
standard.
matter whether it's single or multifamily, correct?
up to 3 families.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it says driveway
Up to 3
serving
lots.
2 or 3 lots. It doesn't say nothing about single.
okay. Well, then,
Right here,
Well,
driveways.
that's,
All
That's a good
accessory
thing.
serving not
Yes,
more than
yes.
3
A
lots.
minimum
To 3.
of all property.
Bobby,
yes, it's just the driveway serving 2 or 3 lots shall have a minimum width of the driveway of 20 feet.
yeah, we're not
That's
talking
not a
about the
setback.
width. We're
Yeah,
talking
you're
about
right.
the setback.
So driveway's private, all
So the
accessory.
setback must remain 25 feet, the way I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
Exactly.
accessory serving.
And all I wanted to
3
do was
lots.
confirm that in table 5.2.
It is.
Which
It's there.
Our conversation at that meeting though was actually, we don't have what size you were supposed to find out
No,
from
we
Mike
did. I think
Murdoch,
we- I
the
think
width
that
of
might
the
have been another
driveway.
Right.
We've already decided on that. I think it
We
was 12.
decided that was 12 feet, I do believe.
that's right. He wanted it
Yeah, for
15 feet, but he's okay with.
good thing I
For a
put,
single
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Mhm.
20 for 3.
Yeah, leave it
No
the same
more than
way it
3.
is, yeah.
That might
good
be
thing I
better.
put my driveway
Okay.
in this year.
Mike
Because it was only 10 feet wide.
I'm sorry. Mike was okay with 12, right?
Yes,
He wanted 15, but when I told him 12, he seemed okay with it.
right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so that was
So
done.
it's-
So now,
12 feet wide
we don't need
and
to vote.
Then we talked
25
about the
feet.
curb cut also.
I thought that was getting a little,
Might have been a little picky, but
yeah.
most of them have to have that anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, it was the width of the driveway.
Yeah,
That was-
yeah. So again, back to, so do we all agree that our regulations call for 25-foot setback?
Yes.
So I just want to confirm that in table
Okay, so
5.2.
you made a motion. to add
I
that
made
to
the
line.
motion that we
George
add that
seconded.
line item to table 5.2 for driveways with a 25-foot setback.
Have a vote then.
We don't have to vote on it, it's in there.
He wants it.
No,
at the
no, I
table.
want
He
to
wants
add,
it a
I
different
want to
place
add
in
an
the book.
item here.
Oh,
In
in
the
different
table.
spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
That
make sure
would be
there's no
table
question.
5 point, what?
5.2.
5.2.
We have it in too many places.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to go back and forth here.
Yeah,
Size, minimum lot size, minimum lot size. Setbacks, state highway, town road, Lake Champlain, private road. So we want to add one under setbacks.
Yeah.
In table 5.2.
So
For,
we got private roads, deeded right of ways, 25-foot setbacks right there. And that's considered a private road,
Yeah,
up to 3,
up to, well,
up to 3 is a private road.
I don't think a driveway, for a single family house is considered a private road. So again, it just,
I do.
it's a clarification, but
If it's a single family home and that's their driveway, that's their private driveway.
No, it's not gonna hurt, add it onto the
Yeah.
chart.
We can, but
Just for clarification.
Yeah, that's all I was looking for.
Okay, we got a motion in a second.
All in favor?
I,
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passed. Now, the first of many suggestions from the Shoreland Committee. And that's why I've put it here.
Which I'm no longer a member of, so it's an open, if you'd like.
I ain't got time.
Had enough
Busy
fun?
now.
I've resigned, yes.
You can see from what I gave you. What their suggested changes are to 7.8 and 7.7.
well, since you bailed out, David, I guess I'm representing the shoreline subcommittee here. Again, we think this is really just clarifications and making sure that the appropriate state regulations are referenced.
I can see no reason why we wouldn't want to add this in.
Clarified the language a little bit in paragraph B. And added the references.
Because we do want to get as much information out to the public, or
Yep.
someone reading our regulations, that in fact. And I think this is a good clarification, it's a good addition. Any discussion? I hear a motion.
I'll move that we adopt the recommendations of the shoreland subcommittee for updates to section 7.8.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none? Let's vote, all in favor,
Aye.
any opposed? No.
Can you vote on it?
Huh? I said
Can
aye.
you vote on it, Bill?
Yeah,
Legally?
why not?
Why not?
Because you're the one bringing it forward.
Well, okay.
Okay, so it's,
He made the motion even.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't know why.
I was asking, that's all. I don't, I want to try to make sure
Yeah,
we're all,
Actually,
I don't either, but I'm just.
I think you
asking.
can vote. I think he can vote, yeah, he's a member of the,
he's a member. of
yeah, he's made the
PC.
motion, but I think he can vote.
Yeah.
yeah, actually, now that I look at, there's, we made similar changes to section 8.12.
I was bringing that in next,
Oh, okay,
next time.
uh,
I like keeping the meetings
okay,
to an hour.
perfect.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Any opposed? None. This passes. We'll update mine.
What part did we just say A to? I thought we already agreed.
7.8.
yeah.
Oh, I said something.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
all right. Someone talked about 8.1.
8.12.
I apologize.
No, that was another one suggestion. I just didn't want to put all of them in. We have looked at all of the suggestions from the DRB. We have one more from the Shoreland Committee, and we'll do that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Just some housekeeping here. Andy and I attended a seminar, online seminar given by Northwest Regional Planning regarding the new land maps that they are developing. And
The flood.
no, not
Oh,
flood.
no, housing.
These are housing.
Yeah.
Which will lead to a discussion between the planning commissions of municipalities under their control. And
And the
they,
select boards.
and the select boards as well,
Yeah.
as to what housing targets might be suggested.
And they will be visiting each town sometime this spring to talk specifically to each town.
Just as importantly, if you go to their website, And also was in, the Front Porch Forum, this week. There's a website that they have that you've spoken about, Danielle, of the housing units that have already been constructed.
Mm.
And I thought it was interesting that in 4 years of 220 to 2023, in North Hero, there were 21 new housing units. There only count, out of those, there were actually 21 in total. 23 single family, however, only 19 were new sites. The other 4 were demos and then rebuilding of houses. There were apparently 2 ADU units for a total of 21. In Grand Isle was a total of 33 for those 4 years, and in South Hero, 48. The interesting thing there is 35 out of the 48 was the senior citizen.
I was gonna say,
multi-unit, that went in. There were actually 19 single families, so that was sort of similar to what we're doing. I don't know how you're going, I'll say that, I don't know how you're gonna get an assigned total of 200 new housing units in 3 years
Here,
in the county.
in the county.
yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna,
We got Albert too.
yeah, unless they do something with the, low-income housing, because they have sewer. There.
Yeah, but they're pretty close to being maxed out on theirs.
Yeah,
So again, I don't know, but I thought it was very interesting to look at it,
Yeah.
to see how it was set up. And
Yeah.
for me, it was, oh, so we've had that many units built.
Yeah,
I didn't think there were that many,
yeah, I actually,
many lots
yeah,
that didn't have housing on them.
I wouldn't have guessed that many.
Hmm.
Personally.
Majority of which were not done in the last 2 years of any of this. It was really,
Okay,
2020 and 2021,
all right.
where that was, but you all know better than I, if there are available land lots, for development. It's something we don't keep track of.
I think there is some. I think people are waiting to see what's gonna happen with regulations from the state for one,
Yeah,
and taxes.
oh, that's a big,
Hmm,
Taxes keep going up. No one's gonna wanna move here that's a young age.
right.
And add on the fact that, is it this year or next year that we're gonna have the reappraisal? Which,
I
think it's this year.
no,
this-
it's not, definitely not this year. I
Not
just talked to
25?
Lisa. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
And there's even talk about that, right? In
Yeah,
the state level, as far as
Right.
how aggressive they're gonna be with all that.
yeah,
Because COVID threw a big wrench into that as far as the market values.
yeah.
So what if, because the other thing that intersects with land use is the use of schools and how schools are gonna be reconfigured.
Mhm.
So if your smaller schools die, like North Hero.
It may.
Then you've got that potential building and that land around there for potential
Yeah.
development too. I mean, that could be a senior.
Well, that's a double whammy.
Yeah.
There's no school in the town. That invites less people that are gonna have school-age kids.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right.
Mhm.
But I
It's
don't,
a double-edged sword there.
Have some good proposals, I think.
yeah, they do have some good proposals. So, but it, again,
To
it's,
keep it alive in North Hero.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Keep the school going or?
Yeah.
keep the school kind of
K2 for the region and
keep it also with their pre-K,
Middle
their
school,
preschool
middle
is,
school at
is pretty
work.
big there.
I think they just need to do one.
They're opening a new preschool right now, Bert. so-
No, I don't, I think it
Are
only.
they really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
Goes to 6 now.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does, but they're.
They're talking
with that new building that's going up.
Here for K2.
They're not gonna send kids down here when they got one
Yeah,
there.
three,
Right.
K2 and then North,
3 through
Grand
5,
Isle.
Grand Isle, yeah.
And then Grand Isle, they're thinking down the road is
K,
expanding.
K through 2?
Here in North
Here,
Hero.
K to 2 and
Are they gonna
preschool.
bring the kids from Grand Isle?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a proposal, not.
That's a
finalized.
boy,
I
I
don't
don't
see Grand Isle
know, young
going.
children like
I
that.
don't see Grand Isle going with that either.
And they got three school board members to R1.
Yeah, so I don't see
Yeah.
them going with for that either. Why would they wanna, yeah, bust their
They're not
kids
gonna
up?
go for that.
But they are interested in expanding the Grand Isle to middle
Well, it's the
school.
school board, well, I mean, they're the ones that have, come up with some of these solutions. They
Yeah.
have to,
Well,
And
there's a whole committee.
Still. You're still gonna have to vote on it somewhat.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
bottom line is, taxes, how much you're willing to pay and how much sacrifices are you willing to make to,
But
Well,
they
you
also
take all the
did that.
schools
They
in the
came out
county
with a
were
plan
built
before the
roughly at the
regional
same
plan
time.
Came up. There's new
Mhm.
plan.
right?
So you
So
got-
they just need to eliminate all of them, build one brand new one from K to high school.
Where's that
Eliminate all
gonna
these
come from?
buses. Wow, you know how much money we send out to all,
we said a
there's
lot.
5 buses that goes on Lakeview Drive every day carrying 1 or 2 kids.
Well, the whole new state plan though.
It's increased. We just need one, they need to accept it that the islands needs to have one school, K through 12. Everyone's bused there. All the schools were all built around the same time. They're all gonna have the same infrastructure problem.
Even getting at the middle level there too is good. K to 8 here is good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it
We
depends. on
spend a
the
lot of
growth.
money sending out to high school.
Yeah, there's something like, I
$14,000
forget, there's something like
per student per
70
year.
70
Where?
kids that are being
Where?
shipped out.
What, doesn't
On
matter,
this
could be
state.
Colchester,
On this
Essex,
state,
huh?
you did. Grand.
So I mean, it's a big number.
I
whatever
think
it
the
is,
state's
yeah.
gonna come in
You're
though and
closer
say,
to 20 grand.
Yeah, okay.
no,
a year
you
per
don't,
kid.
you don't get that freedom anymore. You bus to one particularly when they're saying that Chittenden and Grand Isle will now be
Yeah,
fused.
no, you're not gonna have a choice. If
Well,
they
you
go
could
to
buy-
that new
you could take
program,
your
you'll
kid could
have
go to
5
school in New York for a lot less
different
money.
They do. Connor goes for a
And
lot
get
less. than
and
they
get a
do
better
here.
education.
Where,
New York,
New York,
yeah,
Mhm.
I know they can.
yeah.
they are.
They don't fool around.
Our son, it's $13,000 for Connor to go to NCCS.
Yeah. And they don't fool around. If he
No.
don't hand his homework in the first day, what's his grade the next day, Andre? A 50?
Yeah,
Here they did, month, 2 months, yeah, you'll hand it in, you still get your full credit. No
Heck,
child left
I
behind.
know it on my
Yeah.
phone if he's
That's-
late for
that-
school.
That's not something the planning commission is going to.
No, but
uh,
I've
resolve.
seen it firsthand.
No, we don't wanna take over the
Yeah.
school board.
One last thing, our budget came out. I don't know why the budget came out. We've only used 10% of the money that has been allocated towards us.
Yeah.
But not included in here is our clerk, our zoning administrator.
No, that's just the planning commission.
Yeah, that's just us, so. we're not-
Operating kind of costs.
Yeah, we spent $400 so far.
Oh,
Whoopee.
Looks like we all got a raise this year.
Well, yeah, we did from 0 to 0 plus.
But we get overtime now.
Oh, okay.
Tax
Yeah.
free.
Tax free. Okay, I see nothing else, on here, our flood regulations. I thought I saw that South Hero may have received flood map. Something to do with floods, but I'm not sure. But there's been no changes there. We will review the town plan, but gosh, with all of these changes coming,
Yeah, one thing I think we should do, I think we've pretty much reviewed. You're gonna have a couple more items to review next time, as far as the proposed changes.
Mhm.
I think we're getting to the point where we need to say, yeah, that's it. And let's update the
Yep.
regs and go through the process, the hearing. I think we're getting close to that.
We also talked about last time, think of capital improvement plan. And I thought they had a meeting that might, you were gonna.
yeah, and I missed it because I was
Uh-huh,
sick.
okay, but, so I don't know what's going on with that.
so don't, they want our involvement. don't they? Yeah.
Well,
We're
stat-
supposed to oversee it.
We're supposed to oversee it only because of the statute, but there are people working on it. And I just got a email, oh, you can now join Microsoft 365, and I couldn't find any information on there. I'll have to go through minutes and actually attend if I can find out.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're all, video.
Yeah.
Or Zoom meetings.
Yeah, I think they are.
But you're gonna start going to those.
Yeah.
ones. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I would suggest we kind of activate the town plan business at the conclusion of our next election.
Yep.
Yeah.
Planning commission, so come April, maybe that April meeting, maybe
Mm-hmm.
start focusing on kind of how the process of how we want to do that.
Yeah.
So
Who's running
it was
for-
passed in
From
2000,
where?
2020,
Planning commission?
2020, so
in
we're,
8 years, so we don't have
Did you get
to.
your-
we don't have to, but we might.
But with
wanna-
all of the changes and there's a new
We might
regional
wanna
plan, I think
revisit
we ought to
part-
start
We
seriously.
should revisit part two.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't remember. I
Yeah,
don't remember.
but I agree with George, that, yeah, starting this
I
spring,
should have sent you something.
after the
They didn't
election,
send me
After
nothing.
the election.
They
we'll-
didn't?
I think we
I
should
don't
start
think so.
taking
Who
a.
was up this year?
once we got our resolution. it makes me-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're
okay,
up.
I agree.
Well, I didn't send no petition in.
It was,
And I think, are you up?
Warren, it was you, me and Andre.
Yeah, when did it have to be in by?
What's this?
No, it was only two.
January,
No,
Three?
Yeah,
It had
there's
to be
three
in
of us.
by Monday.
This past Monday?
By
Yesterday,
statute, yeah.
Whoops. Do you think the
Call
Corin
Corinne
would
and
send
call and
out,
See if you can do it.
hey, are you gonna run?
I think she did.
yeah, she
Yeah.
sent a list of everybody.
Yeah.
I think Lisa does it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they sent,
Yeah,
they
that got sent out.
notified people.
Oh, well, we may have
Call
fewer
Lisa,
members
let her
on the, may have to appoint, have the select board appoint someone to the planning commission.
No, I think there are enough people in. Pat's
Yeah, they're-
running, I'm running.
Oh.
Warren's running.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Good.
Still running after?
Yeah.
After going, would you like to be the chairman? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
A second.
I think just do it.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor? Yes, who
Aye.
not wants to? Now, how do I turn this off? End.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, okay, good. I keep using the wrong end on it.
She's in Vancouver flying back. No, she's headed out.